Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Shemel Shai. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone. May Yahweh Shemel Shai's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Overcall from Great Millstone. And I'm just going to do a commentary based off my man's here, the Angry Prepper. Because, at this point, for the most part, everyone can see the writing on the wall, even when it comes to these fake and phony Christians, as much as we get on them. For the most part, they can see dealing with the M.O.T.B. It is what it is. Going into that insertable device that's going to be implanted in and under the skin. Even fake and phony Christians can see that for the most part. And it's really like, what is it with these different Israelite groups out here that can't see it? You speak against it. And just having the understanding that we have, man, the Wadi Al-Bashar from the apostles and bishops of Great Millstone, being taught the correct doctrine. It's clear at this point. And so much that it is clear, and so much, again, the sound leadership that we have from the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who never wavered or never deviated, all right, always stuck to sound doctrine, never changed it up. But with that being said, little by little, these different Israelite groups, they are changing up their doctrine because, again, prophecy is clear. All right. Prophecy is becoming more and more clear, more and more evident. All right. So, like I said, dealing with the M.O.T.B, it is what it is. All right. And everyone can see it. So, with that being said, man, like I said, I just want to play this video here, man. Just start dissect this through the scriptures and spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. So, without further ado, we're gonna play my man's here.
You are going to be backed into a corner sooner or later, and you need to figure it out now. All right, guys, so the digital ID thing, I spoke about this. I'm going to speak about this probably a million more times until they get rid of my channel because of digital ID, presence or verification that you're going to need to have a YouTube channel, just anything in the near future. But this is going to get to a point, guys, where you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to either get the digital ID or bow out of it, or not take it at all, or get it implanted in your body. Whatever it is they're going to do, that time is coming. And now, granted, the implant thing is probably around the corner. We're probably going to see, again, enhanced IDs and things like that first before we start seeing any kind of implantations. But you still are going to have to make a decision. Now, as preppers, a lot of us are like, there's no way I'm going to get involved in that.
And you see, this is why it is known as the hour of temptation. Because, like my man said, a choice is going to have to be made. Now, for those that get simple, well, what if they strap me down and put it inside me forcefully? Well, if that's the case, ultimately you're not of the elect. All right. Ultimately you're not of the elect. Because again, the hour of temptation. One thing that we are all going to be forced to do is make a decision. All right, Esau's not going to force anything on anyone. All right, and again, for the few exceptions to the rule, if that is your lot, then again, ultimately you're not of the elect. But overall, more so a choice. We're all going to be forced with a choice. So, like it says here. In Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So as it's been broken down a million times, going into this cause, to cause all, he calls it all, little by little from the besieging, all right, because there's a modern day sieging, all right, it's a modern day trench, all right, which that word trench that you read about in Luke, it's at Luke 19:43. It says, For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee and compass thee round and keep thee in on every side. And Esau's doing us all over again. All right. It's a modern day sieging all over again. Esau, he's cutting off the resources more and more, making an already damn nearly impossible living situation more miserable. All right. He's backing everyone into a corner, like my man was saying in the beginning. All right. He's backing everyone into a corner. All right. But wanted to make the point that because that word trench, it's the same. Going back to this in Revelation 13, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark. And that root word for mark is the same word, same definition. What I just read in Luke 19. All right, as far as that trench, all right, that closing in, all right, that palisade. You see. So matter of fact, just want to make sure I stand corrected. So yeah, I stand corrected as far as the root word, because you got the karagma, but then the root word you got the karax, and that karax again, it's the same word that I just read. This word for this root word, it's the same word. It's the same definition, same meaning as the word trench that I just read in Luke 19. It's the same thing. So this is what we're seeing. All right, like it reads again. It says, and he calls it all. So again, he's setting this new system up. All right, and as my man is going to get into, you either get with the program or not. Right.
That's fine until real shit starts happening. We had a taste of that when they wanted us to take an arm ticket, and they told us, well, if you don't take it, you're going to lose your job. And so many people folded like origami. It was insane. And that was over something you didn't need. Now, with digital ID, as we're seeing in China, now I saw a video in China, I tried to verify it as best as I could, and according to the video, there are people sleeping on the streets of China because their social credit score is so low, they can't even rent an apartment. They can't get money out of their bank account. So they're peddling for food and whatever cash that they can get from people that might still have cash on them. Because a lot of China is cashless, but some people do still carry cash. But nonetheless, these people have hit rock bottom. And again, the video that I saw, they were sleeping all over the street. Now, a lot of these people did not look homeless. They looked like they just got kicked out of their home. They looked like a lot of people here in the United States were like, you know what, I'm not going to rent an apartment. I'm going to live out of my vehicle. Now, with the digital ID in China, if your social credit scoring system gets too low, you can't even buy a car. So now you don't live in a car. You can't take money out to pay rent. You can't take money out to eat. So now what do you do? You're left to being on the street. And you see people like sleeping on mats, looking at their phones, feet crossed, like they're comfortable, like this is their life. And it was like an alleyway, I guess it was. But there were, as far as the eye can see, it looked like new homeless people. Not like decrepit homeless people like we see out here. Like they look like fresh, dressed, but they were sleeping on the sidewalk. Now this is coming to America. One way or the other, guys, you're going to have to fucking make a decision. You're going to have to shit or get off that pot. Now, I'm going to get off that pot. I'm done. It's going to be easier for me to fold this YouTube channel like that. As soon as they start saying, oh, you need a real ID to have this channel.
And you see, it's easier said than done. All right. And that's what we are hoping and praying. Yahweh Shema shall give us that spirit to be able to withstand, all right, and not bow the knee to this image, all right, which goes into the system, And as it's being reported on, Apostle Tahar spoke on it. All right, as it's being reported on, like my man just brought out, the model over there in China, all right, the blueprint for what's to come here to America. Because again, you don't want to get down with the program. Well, hey, you're going to be X'd out of the society. And that's why the just are going to have to live by faith. I'm going to jump up in Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Going into literal, killing. All right. As is prophesied, some of the elect are going to get martyred for not taking that C-hip. But again, even with that, like the scriptures talk about, the last enemy to be defeated is death. And the elect love not their lives. You see? So this is a part of our training. We're being built up not to fear death, because Esau, he's going to use that. And being that these people, they don't understand the concept of death, what it is. They fear it, the whole thing of fearing the unknown. Well, they don't know what, because they don't understand what death is, they fear it. And the Esau is going to use that. All right. But, also, because again, that's in the literal sense. Those that don't want to worship the image of the beast should be killed. That's in a literal sense. But it can also just be, it can also just go into being a cast out, being a castaway out of society. You won't be able to, like the prophecy states, man, by yourself. All right. There's not going to be no thing where when this is up and running, all right, when this is in full motion, because again, going back to the point that I was making, man, with these different Israelite groups, man, it's like, well, what is their problem? Because even fake and phony Christians, they can, for the most part, see, they can put two and two together. They even, as dumb as they are, and as much as we get on them, they can, for the most part, see, they could put two and two together. So it's really like, what's wrong with you Israelites, man? Because it's clear, it's so much that, a lot of people even thought that, going back to the Capri Sun, the Maxine Waters, all right, back in 2020, 21, a lot of people thought that was the actual M.O.T.B, but nevertheless, it was just a forerunner. All right. That whole campaign, man, it was just a small prelude to what we're gonna see, because going into the scripture, or like the scripture say, when that day comes, man, all hell's gonna be breaking loose, and so much that Yahweh Bashim Shai is really gonna have to really speed things up. I'm gonna go to this real quick. Second Edges 9. Second Edges 9 and 20. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril. Is that peril going to just real dangerous? All right. All hell is going to be breaking loose. This is going to be bad times. Why? It says because of the devices that will come into it. So you see, to fast forward to when, again, that M.O.T.B, when it's in full effect, fully mandated and whatnot, Yahweh Bashim Shai is really going to have to speed the days up. Right? Because again, the whole campaign back in 2020 through 2022, right? All hell hasn't even really broke loose yet. It was just a test, man, a big test run. All right, for the real deal. All right, which we are inching closer and closer. All right, if you've been paying attention over the years, all right, and especially with the Trump administration, all right, all the moves that he's making through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shemal Shah on the left hand, all right, moving towards this digital technocracy. Again, man, like I says, as I read back in Revelation 13, the systems being made is being set up. All right, and everyone's going to be presented with a choice. A decision will have to be made. All right, and then, like we read at the end of every camp, every Saturday. All right, going into the hour of temptation, man. You know, Yahweh Shema Shah Ratazah, he be with us to give us that spirit. He keeps us in the hour of temptation. He gives us a certain spirit to say no, because it's going to be bad. I'm going to play some more.
Out. I'm out. If they say my license isn't good enough, my regular license, I need an enhanced ID, I'm gone. It's just like that. If they tell me, well, you need to get this and that, because I thought they were going to have us take the ARM ticket to run a YouTube channel. I saw that coming, and then it didn't happen. I was like, all right, that was one bullet dodged. But if they're going to tell us we need an enhanced ID or real ID to run a YouTube channel or a business or whatever it is, or photography, then I'm done. But you're going to have to make that decision now. Don't wait till when it happens, and then you go, oh, shit, what do I do? Because it's coming. It came for a lot of people in China, and look at them, sleeping on the streets. So now, what are we going to do, right? You're going to have to make a decision. And if you're going to make a decision to not engage in a digital ID game, you need a plan. That's where it all comes together, guys, that plan. A lot of people didn't have the plan when the ARM ticket was pushed. And then they were like, what am I going to do? And some people didn't have a plan and left. I didn't have a plan. I left. A lot of people didn't have a plan and left.
Yeah, you had Israelite groups telling you to get that jump shot. So you can only imagine, again, being that these Israelite groups, they speak against the M.O.T.B. as far as what has been taught by apostles and bishops of Great Millstone. Because I was going to make the point, it's not going to be a thing of, when it comes to buying and selling, oh, do you worship the image of Cedric Borgia? It just doesn't make sense when you look at it logically, right? You know, some camps teach that, hey, the M.O.T.B. is sleeping with the so-called white woman. So are you going to, when it comes to buying and selling, do you have to have proof that you're not sleeping with a so-called white woman? It doesn't make sense. Again, when you look at it logically, it doesn't make sense.
But those who weren't resilient enough took the ARM ticket because they didn't have a plan. Well, develop your fucking plan now, because guess what's coming down the pike? This isn't looking good for a lot of us. And granted, guys, the time we might have, I'm thinking 2 to 5 years before they hard implement the real ID or some kind of implantation into your body, excuse me. I would say 2 to 5, maybe longer, because there is going to be pushback on a lot of this. Though, the cashless society is creeping up on us. And here's the problem. Cashless societies right now are in resorts. A lot of hotels are starting to adopt this. A lot of resorts are adopting this, which you call sporting events, stadiums, they're adopting this. So it's starting to make its way into society. Right now, it's in like luxury events and things like that, things we don't need. But they're stopping.
It's all gradualism, man. Gradualism we've been seeing for decades, all right? You know, there was a time where, hey, because now, let's say it comes to a job, an employee or an employer. Now you're pretty much forced to have a direct deposit and things of that nature, versus it wasn't like that before. It wasn't like that years ago, right? Little things like that, where, because when cash was the common thing, walking around with cash, coins, right? But then you had the option of a debit card, right? You have your debit card. It got to a point where and as we've seen, especially like I said, over the past, ever since this world crisis started back in 2020, cash is really becoming obsolete. People kind of look at you strange when you pull out cash, coins. They look at you funny, because it's become the new norm. You know, there was a time where these debit cards, these credit cards, they didn't have the C hip on it, right? Now you can't. If I'm not mistaken, when it comes to you trying to pay with card, it has to have the C hip on it. You know, versus it wasn't like that before. So just making the point as far as this gradualism, all right, getting everyone. Esau's basically buttering everyone up for this new system that's getting ready to be introduced, is getting ready to be ushered in. You see,
Being cash. That is bad. That's a tsunami of problems coming our way. Because once they start hitting those events, if you will, or places, they're going to start to your nearest store where you're not going to be able to use cash. I heard McDonald's was talking about going cashless in the next year or so. Again, that was a rumor. So if McDonald's leads the way with that, every other fast food chain is going to follow suit, because that's what they do, right? They look at McDonald's like the gold standard of bullshit, and then they follow suit. So we have to wait and see what that's going to look like. But again, that was a rumor. And if McDonald's starts doing it, we're screwed. Now, there are businesses here in New York City that are cashless. I think Chopped is cashless. That stupid vegan salad, fest gay fucking rabbit food place. I think they're cashless. And I think Dig is cashless. I think they are. That's another, again, stupid, like, it's not so much vegan. They do have meat there, Dick. But still, my point is that there are stores that are starting to adopt this shit too. You go in a lot of places like, oh, we don't do cash anymore. It's starting. We're going to get there. Sooner or later, we're going to get there. And sooner or later, it's going to be full bloom. And then what are you going to do? So you need to come up with a plan. And if your plan is to just step out of society, then you're going to need a community of people to operate with, because you're not going to be able to do it alone. Anyway, guys.
And you see, that's cold, man, because the scriptures talk about how, and something that I'm noticing, I'm sure I can speak for others to add on to that point that he just made, is I've been noticing more and more, people are pretty much coming together. They're thinking more nation-minded, coming together, bringing their resources together. And it just reminds me, like the scriptures talk about, 10 women baking their bread in one oven. Right? Because, hey, the times that we're in is tough, and it's getting tougher. Like I said, it's already damn nearly impossible to live. Esau is making it impossible to live, to exist as it is. And he's only putting a squeeze on more and more. You see, so again, he's backing everyone into a corner. Everyone's crying out for a solution, and he's going to present that solution in the form of that M.O.T.B. But again, that's why the just are going to have to live by faith, because the day is coming. All right, any day now, man. As I always say, America Babylon is one not so major event away from, just all hell breaking loose. We're on the verge of civil unrest, martial law, World War III. All right, Yahweh Shema Shai being the mastermind that he is, the ultimate chess player that he is. Again, if you're paying attention in the spirit, man, Yahweh Shema Shai is moving everything into place. Again, from World War III, they're talking about a new pandemic, right? Yahweh Shema Shai is moving everything into place. He's moving all the chess pieces. And it just really seems like, man, it's just a matter of that event, whatever it could be, for this M.O.T.B. Because again, like Apostle Tar always says, man, hey, once that M.O.T.B. is mandated, hey, it could be weeks, it could be a matter of months, weeks. Because again, that's how bad it's going to be. Yahweh Shema Shai is really going to have to fast track things. He's really going to have to get his elect up out of here. So Yahweh Shema Shai is moving everything into place. All right. And it just really, that's like the main thing that we're really on the lookout for, is this M.O.T.B, man. And again, it only makes sense. Like the scriptures say, money is a defense. So when you look at it logically, ain't no damn thing about having image of Cedric Borgia in your pocket, man. Now, all these things are a part of it. All right, the image of the beast. All right, all these things are part of the image of the beast. But so because you got some that say sin is the M.O.T.B. Well, if that was the case, again, if you look at it logically, they were all screwed. Because once you take the M.O.T.B, there's no coming back from it. You can't repent from it. Now, it is a sin to take the M.O.T.B, but overall, the M.O.T.B is not sin. So again, man, these guys can see it. It's like everyone can see it, but these dumb Israelites, man. Again, money is a defense. So in order to buy and sell, all right, there has to be a new way of buying and selling. If not, well, as I read, you won't be able to buy or sell. You won't be able to partake in society. You'll be X out of society, living on the streets, all right, living off grid or whatever the case may be. That's why the just are going to have to live by faith. The day is coming, even for us, the hopeful elect. Like I said, man, it's easier said than done. You got these guys talking about going off grid. It's easier said than done, right? But Isaiah 10. Isaiah 10 and 27. And it shall come to pass in that day that his burden shall be taken away from off thy shoulder, and his yoke from off thy neck. So the day is coming when a complete detaching from the system. All right, the day is coming when we're not gonna have to rely on these bullshit 9-to-5 jobs. All right, the day is coming. There's going to be a complete collapse, man. And I always say, man, it's just going to be different. One day we're going to wake up, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. But again, the elect are going to have to live by faith because, again, it's easier to the done. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what we're going to do. These guys sit back and talk about how they got plans A through Z, right? But we don't know. We don't know. And that's why we're going to have to live by just. That's why it's going to be the hour of temptation. That's why it's called the hour of temptation. All right. Like Yahushua had his darkest moment. That day is coming for all of us. But again, the Lord's going to give us, Lord willing, man, we're at that number. The Lord's going to give us a certain spirit to be able to deal. But nevertheless, man, making the point, back to the point, these people, they can see. Even the fake and phony Christians, as much as we get on their dumb asses, even they can see. A lot of Christians can see. It's just like, what's wrong with you Christians? Or it's like, what's wrong with you Israelites? But it just goes to show you how, hey, man, these Israelites, the Lord is not dealing with them. It's either that or they're just sold out. Or both. As scriptures do say, man, Jake, man, is Sodom's children. Jake is just stupid. But Lord willing, this is edifying. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.